Before I passed away, my spouse revealed that throughout all those years, the person she genuinely loved was my sibling. The reason was my brother had given her a kidney. So, after being reincarnated, I steered clear of my wife like the plague and tied the knot with the snobby flirt she had mentioned in my past life. Burdened with remorse, she knelt before me, pleading for pardon. I laughed softly and said, "I ain't donating a kidney to you this time." When I opened my eyes, I found myself reborn during my sophomore year at university. I hadn't even started to process everything when my phone buzzed with a text from Mia. "Can you help me convince Jake to catch a movie tonight after class?" I frowned. Mia was my wife in my previous life, and I always thought we had a long, loving marriage ahead. But just before I died, she confessed that her true love was my brother. "Can't. Got stuff to handle. Figure it out yourself," I replied. I had zero interest in getting involved with her anymore since fate had given me a second shot. This time, I was living for me. Once I calmed down, I glanced around the classroom. Most faces were new to me, except for Lily, who sat next to me. In my past life, I remembered that on the first day of school, I had helped Lily fend off a couple of guys bothering her and also helped carry her bags to the dorm. Since then, we had a solid friendship. She was a sweet girl. Being in the same class, she often brought me breakfast, saved me a seat, and occasionally invited me to study together at the library. But Mia had always disliked Lily. She had called Lily a snobby flirt who was always putting on a show and urged me to stay away from her. In my last life, I listened to Mia because I liked her. When I declined Lily's library invites a few times, Mia eventually stopped reaching out. "Lily, how about dinner tonight?" I felt a bit guilty. She had been nothing but kind, a genuinely good girl. "Ah, how about dinner tonight?" I felt a bit bad. She looked surprised, her mouth slightly open. "Really? Why the sudden invite?" I smiled. No reason, just in a good mood and felt like celebrating. "Okay," she agreed, her face lighting up with happiness and her cheeks tinting pink. That evening, I took Lily to a sushi place near the campus. While we ate, Lily asked, "Jake, are you planning to take the grad school entrance exam?" In my previous life, I had abandoned the idea of further studies for Elise, and it was one of my biggest regrets. So without hesitation, I said, "Yeah, I want to get into Shanghai Tech." Lily's eyes sparkled with surprise. "Me too. I want to get into Shanghai Tech as well. We can prep together and keep each other on track." "Sounds great," I replied, genuinely excited. Just then, Mia and my brother walked into the restaurant. When Mia saw me with Lily, she frowned deeply and quickly approached us. "Jake, is this what you meant by having plans? Your plan was to have dinner with her." Her tone was sharp. When I used to like Mia, everything about her seemed charming, even her slightly spoiled personality. I thought it was cute, but now that I didn't like her anymore, her aggressive tone irritated me. "So what if it is? Weren't you planning to watch a movie with my brother? I'm not messing with your plans. Why can't I have dinner with a friend?" I shot back, equally harsh. Mia looked at me wide-eyed, as if she couldn't believe I would talk to her like that. I didn't care. After speaking, I grabbed Lily's hand and walked out since we had already finished eating. "Brother, Lily and I are heading out now." As soon as we stepped outside, my brother chased after us. "Jake, what's up?" he asked, clearly anxious. "Why did you talk to Mia like that? Don't you like her? Go make things right." My brother was always the gentle type, always trying to bring Mia and me together. "Bro, Mia has always liked you. Besides, I don't like her anymore." I pulled Lily in front of me. "I like Lily now, so I won't be involved with Mia anymore, Jake." Before my brother could respond, Mia stormed out. She lifted her chin and stared at me, clearly waiting for me to apologize. I ignored her and walked back to school with Lily. Along the way, Lily kept her head down, not saying a word. Feeling a bit guilty, I tried to explain. "Lily, I'm sorry for using you as a shield earlier." She spoke slowly. "Jake, you said you don't like Mia anymore. Is that true?" "It's true," I nodded firmly. "I will never like her again, and the further I stay away from her, the better." Then gathering her courage, she looked up at me, her pale face turning red. "Can I like you?" I froze for a moment, looking at Lily. She was very pretty, with a delicate, quiet beauty. Petite, with a small frame and a gentle demeanor that made you want to protect her. Had she always liked me? If I had distanced myself from her in the past life, was she heartbroken? Thinking about this, I patted her head reassuringly. Of course you can, Liv. You're a wonderful girl, and it's an honor to be liked by you, but I still need some time to sort out my feelings. Can you wait for me? Yeah. She nodded eagerly, then shyly lowered her head again. She was just too adorable. A week later, Mia suddenly showed up looking completely different, anxious and desperate to pull me out of class. Jake, come out. We need to talk. The classroom was packed, and everyone was watching us. I had no choice but to step outside. What do you want? I asked with a blank expression. I need to talk to you. She seemed stuck, unable to get the words out. If you have nothing important to say, I'm heading back. Don't come to my class anymore. It's not cool, I said coldly and turned to leave. Jake, do you want to be with me? She called after me. Huh? I thought I must have misheard. You've always liked me, haven't you? Let's be together. I didn't know what was going through her mind, but I replied coldly, yeah, I liked you before, but I don't anymore. Haven't you always liked my brother? Why are you coming to me instead of him? Are you trying to use me to get closer to him again? I'm not. I, I'm not getting back together with you, Mia. Let's just pretend we never knew each other. Don't even greet me when we meet. With that, I turned and went back to class. Mia stayed where she was, her head hanging low, lost in thought. But for some reason, I kept running into her everywhere. The cafeteria, the supermarket, even outside the boys' dorm. It was driving me nuts. Finally, I couldn't hold back and pulled her aside. Enough, I've already told you, I don't like you anymore. You like my brother. Go after him. Why are you bothering me? Mia's eyes were full of curiosity. Did you come back too? What? Could it be Mia had been reincarnated too? I was shocked inside, but kept a calm face. I don't know what you're talking about. Just stay away from me. Hearing that I didn't admit anything, Mia visibly relaxed. Oh, right. I just remembered. I'm not paying your rent anymore. If you want to keep living there, pay for it yourself. Shortly after we started college, Mia had told me she didn't get along with her roommates and that they were excluding her. So I spent 10,000 yuan every month to rent a studio apartment for her off campus. Although my family wasn't broke, I only got 6,000 yuan a month for living expenses and spent more than half on her. Sometimes I even had to ask my parents for more money. Mia froze in place. I knew she only got 3,600 yuan a month in living expenses. While it was enough to get by, it definitely wouldn't cover the rent. Jake, how can you treat me like this? Mia's voice became sharp when she heard what I said. And why shouldn't I treat you like this? I said, annoyed. Before, when I liked her, I was willing to spend money on her even if she didn't care. But now that I don't like her anymore, I don't want to spend a single cent on her. Understand? Mia's eyes filled with tears after holding them back for a moment. She angrily said, Jake, you'll regret treating me this way. Regret? I would never regret it. In my past life after we got married, I handled all the housework and paid for everything. But when I got sick because I only had one kidney, Mia never came to see me, not even once. It wasn't until I was on my deathbed that she told me she had always loved my brother. She could have kept that from me, but she chose to let me die knowing the truth, making me feel like my decades of devotion were a joke, and I died with no peace of mind. I guess she hated me for tying her to a loveless marriage for over a decade, hated me so much that she didn't even want me to die peacefully. How ironic. In my last life, I treated her so well, yet all I ever saw from her were cold expressions or commands given with an air of superiority. But in this life, after just a few harsh words from me, she was suddenly showing all sorts of emotions in front of me. None of it mattered to me anymore. Just then, my brother called. Jake, Mom and Dad just called. They said Mia's father had a stroke and is in the hospital. He needs someone to take care of him. I remembered this had happened in my past life too. Back then, both my brother and I were worried about Mia, so we didn't tell her. I took a 2-week leave from school to care for her father. Thinking about Mia's parents filled me with anger. They always thought I was her doormat. No matter how well I treated them, they never showed me any respect. In my previous life, I spent a fortune on gifts for Mia's parents during every holiday, yet they always turned up their noses, complaining the gifts weren't valuable enough. But all my money was spent on Mia. I wasn't some rich heir. By middle age, I hadn't saved a penny, and when I got sick, my parents had to pay my hospital bills. With that in mind, I said each word clearly to my brother. Bro, if Mia's father is sick, let her mother call her. We don't need to worry about it. But no buts, bro. I've told you, I don't like her anymore. I knew my brother had always treated Mia like a little sister, and since I liked her, he took care of her as well. When Mia heard me mention her, she quickly looked over. Your father had a stroke, I told her bluntly. She seemed to just remember, and without saying anything, hurriedly turned to leave. In my past life, by the time she found out, her father had already been discharged from the hospital. She suddenly stopped, turned back, and bit her lip before saying, Jake, come home with me. No, I refused firmly. Her eyes flashed with disappointment and confusion, but she turned and left. For the next 2 weeks, Mia didn't appear in my life again. She only called once to borrow money, but I refused. I also called my brother, telling him not to lend her money either. My brother didn't understand why I suddenly became so heartless towards Mia, but he reluctantly agreed, as I was still his biological brother. During that time, I was pretty happy. I readjusted to university life and resumed my studies. I went out with Lily again. We played a role-playing mystery game and watched movies together. I was completely drawn in by Lily's gentleness and inner strength. Finally, when Lily gathered the courage to confess to me for the second time, I smiled and playfully tapped her nose. Silly girl, confessions are supposed to be made by the guy. She stubbornly looked up at me. I cleared my throat. Miss Lily, I like you. Would you be willing to be with me? I'm willing, she said, beaming with joy. I was just as happy. It turns out my feelings weren't worthless after all, and such a lovely girl cherished them like a treasure. Liv, thank you. Lily tilted her head slightly, seemingly unsure what I was thanking her for. Thank you for liking me. I smiled gently at her. I'll definitely treat you well. More than half a month later, Mia reappeared, looking much more worn out. I ran into her in front of the girls' dormitory, and she rushed over to apologize. Jake, I'm sorry. I now realize how much you've done for me. She looked exhausted, probably from taking care of her father. In my previous life, after I took care of her father until he was discharged, she had come to me, casually saying, thanks. Even that had made me happy for half a day. Thinking back, I couldn't help but feel embarrassed for my former self. I don't know what you're talking about, I replied coldly. At that moment, Lily came down from the dormitory, all packed up and ready to go. Seeing Mia and me together, she seemed a little nervous. I smiled, took Lily's hand, handed her a cup of milk tea, and walked past Mia without looking back. Jake, Mia suddenly yelled, are you refusing to be with me just because of her? I've told you before, that girl is just a snobby flirt, Mia shouted loudly. Everyone around us began to stare and point. Lily, flustered and red with anger, said, Why? Why are you slandering me? Mia sneered at her. Isn't seducing someone else's partner the definition of a snobby flirt? Her words left everyone around us stunned. Mia, I yelled, standing in front of Lily to shield her. Since when was I your partner? I don't like you. Can't you understand plain words? How dare you say that about my girlfriend? Jake, you're scolding me over that snobby flirt, Mia cried as she ran off. Lily's eyes were red, but she held back her tears. Any girl would feel hurt if insulted like that. Everyone, I raised my voice, addressing the crowd still lingering. That girl you just saw is only a neighbor. We grew up together, but there's nothing more between us. She likes my brother. I don't know what's gotten into her today, but I won't accept her slandering my girlfriend. I cupped my hands and gave a slight bow to the onlookers. I hope you won't spread rumors. Being with my girlfriend is my good fortune, and I don't want her hurt by any gossip. With those words, another guy waiting outside the dorm spoke up. All right, bro, I believe you're not the type to abandon someone. Lily was touched. She tugged on my hand, lowering her head shyly under the gaze of others. I thought this matter was over, But that very night, Mia posted on the university forum. She named Lily from the class of 19, accusing her of stealing someone else's partner. She even uploaded a bunch of photos of us from when we were younger. In the photos, my brother was cropped out, leaving just the two of us. There were pictures of us shopping, watching movies, eating out, and going to amusement parks. Anyone looking at them would assume we were a couple. Students, always eager for gossip, quickly blew up the post. In less than 2 hours, it became the top thread, filled with comments insulting Lily and me. She's a snobby flirt. Right. Stealing someone else's partner. Scumbag guy. Shameless girl. Trash couple deserves each other. Lily called me nearly in tears. What do we do, Jake? Did you ever date her? Don't worry, I comforted her gently. I've never dated Mia. Not before, and I won't in the future either. Do you trust me? If you do, leave this to me. I trust you. Lily sniffled on the other end of the line. I hung up the phone, my expression colder than ice. Mia, I didn't want anything to do with you after being reborn. I was willing to let the past stay in the past. But since you keep provoking me and using dirty tricks, don't blame me for being ruthless. I told Lily to stay indoors for a couple of days and silently waited for the situation to escalate. Once Mia's post had gained enough attention and comments, I took screenshots and saved them. Then, I compiled all the original photos and edited a detailed account of my history with Mia from childhood. I even included screenshots of messages I had sent her that she barely responded to. I packed everything up and posted my own thread. Due to the popularity of Mia's original post, mine quickly gained attention as well. Wow, the tables have turned. Folks, so there was another person in the pictures. It's clear that this Mia girl was much closer to the other guy. She cropped him out and posted these pictures. That's so manipulative. Why would someone do that? When someone likes you, you ignore them. But when they move on, you smear their new partner. Princess of the dating world. Loves keeping people hanging. This is scary. Classic competitive female behavior. I apologize to Miss Lily. Yesterday I spoke too harshly. I'm sorry. Sorry? Add me to the apology list, Jake. Thanks, Lily. Emily called to thank me again. Don't thank me yet, Liv. I sent her the screenshots. Call the police and report her for defamation. Huh. Isn't that a bit extreme? After all, she's your childhood friend. Lily was surprised. Liv, I said seriously, I won't let her hurt you like this. Okay? Not long after, Mia was escorted out of class by a few police officers for a conversation. When the three of us met at the police station, Mia finally realized what had happened. You called the police? She glared at Lily. I was the one who reported you, Mia. You did something wrong. Do you really expect no one to fight back? I said sarcastically. Jake, you've changed, she mumbled. Miss Mia, the officer interrupted. Based on the evidence we've received, you are charged with defamation and causing social harm. Therefore, you will face the following penalties. You are required to pay Miss Lily 4,000 yuan for emotional damages, a fine of 1,000 yuan, and you will be administratively detained for 3 days. When Mia heard she would be detained, her face turned pale. She pleaded with the officers. I know I did wrong, but can you not detain me? I'm still a student, and detention will go on my record. If you and the victim can reach a reconciliation through mediation, the detention can be waived, the officer replied. Mia turned to me with pleading eyes. Jake, you can't do this to me. I remained expressionless. You didn't hurt me, so talking to me is pointless. After hesitating for a long while, Mia gritted her teeth and finally apologized to Lily. Lily, I'm sorry for what I did. Could you forgive me? I promise it won't happen again. Following my earlier instructions, Lily refused the mediation. You! Mia's anger flared. I need to make a call, Mia told the officer. Making a phone call was a reasonable request, so the police had no reason to deny her. A few minutes later, my dad called me. I picked up the phone with satisfaction. Hello, Dad. What's up? Why are you at the police station with Mia? Dad, you don't know what Mia did. She spread rumors about my girlfriend at school, accusing me of cheating. Now everyone at school knows, and I can't even hold my head up anymore. I exaggerated the situation. When did you get a girlfriend? Never mind, we'll talk about that later. Did things really get that bad? Yeah, my girlfriend and I don't even dare to leave the dorm. That girl, my dad got angrier as he listened. Fine, sort it out quickly. Old Bai called me. We can't let Mia get detained by the police, but we'll cut ties with her family from now on. That was exactly what I wanted to hear. From the moment Mia started this mess, I knew my family had to distance itself from hers. But I couldn't be the one to say it. It had to come from the older generation. In the end, I agreed to mediate but demanded that Mia pay Lily 10,000 yuan in compensation and issue a public apology on the school forum and all her personal social media platforms. Mia's face turned ashen, but she agreed. As we were leaving, Mia grabbed my sleeve asking to talk privately. I reassured Lily and followed her. Jake, Mia started. I know you're only with Lily to get back at me, but this time, I'm really upset. Break up with her now and I'll agree to be with you. Stop playing games. Didn't you always like my brother? I was puzzled. If Mia had also been reincarnated, shouldn't she be trying to get with my brother instead of clinging to me? I, she stammered before raising her head abruptly. No, how do you know I liked your brother? I've never told you explicitly before, unless... Mia's eyes narrowed as she stepped closer. Unless you were also reborn. Is that it? Before I could respond, Mia muttered to herself, Yeah, you must have been reborn too. Otherwise, you wouldn't be acting so differently from last time. Then her face suddenly turned pale as a realization hit her. That means, yes, I was reborn, and much earlier than you, I replied with a mocking smile. I remember every word you said before I died. She staggered backward, trying to explain. Jake, I didn't mean to, so I won't cling to you anymore, and don't bother clinging to me either. Heaven gave me another chance, and this time, I'm going to find someone who truly loves me. I looked at her deeply and added, If you truly like my brother, go after him. I won't stop you. Rest assured. With that, I walked away, not looking back to see Mia standing there, dazed and on the verge of collapse. For a while after that, I didn't see Mia. I even started to wonder if she had vanished altogether until June 27th. Just before summer break, I was pacing nervously in the classroom. Tomorrow, June 28th, was the day my brother had died in a car accident in the previous life. I clenched my fists. This time, I wouldn't let it happen. At midnight on June 28th, I knocked on my brother's dormitory door. He was a teacher at a nearby university. Southwest, he lived close by. Jake, what are you doing here so late? Bro, don't ask why. I'm spending the whole day with you today. In the previous life, he had died in a car accident off campus, so I kept an eye on him all day, making sure he didn't leave the university. Finally, by 3 p.m., I breathed a sigh of relief. The time of the accident in the previous life had passed, and it seemed like I had averted the tragedy. Just as I relaxed my guard, a tricycle suddenly came speeding around the corner, heading straight for my brother. There was no time to dodge. My mind went blank. Could fate really not be changed? Gritting my teeth, I quickly turned and lunged forward, kicking off the ground to push my brother out of the way. At the same time, another figure moved in sync with me, and the three of us tumbled to the ground. My brother hit a rock hard as he fell. Ah! My brother groaned in pain, clutching his leg. Bro! I cried, feeling a wave of frustration. Jake! I turned and saw that the person who had fallen with us was Mia. It had only been a month since I last saw her, but she looked like she had aged 10 years and seemed to have lost a lot of weight. I had no time to deal with her. Grabbing my phone, I dialed for an ambulance. My brother was already sweating from the pain. I regretted it so much. My brother had insisted on going out to teach, and I had thought it would be fine as long as he didn't leave the campus. If I had known, I would have made sure he didn't even leave his dorm room. The ambulance arrived quickly, and Mia followed us to the hospital. She clung to my brother's shirt the entire time, muttering under her breath, It can't be. It can't be. In this life, I didn't take your kidney. You won't die. I suddenly remembered. In the previous life, about half a month after my brother's car accident, my dad had called me to tell me that Mia had been diagnosed with kidney failure and needed a transplant. I hadn't consulted anyone back then. I had quietly gone to get tested and found out I was a match. I had thought it was fate's way of telling me to save her. In this life, I hadn't donated my kidney. So was Mia now like this because she had been undergoing dialysis all this time? We soon arrived at the hospital. Fortunately, my brother remained conscious. After a thorough examination, I let out a sigh of relief. He had a fractured chin and several bruises, but no life-threatening injuries. He was soon hooked up to a pain relief drip, and as he opened his eyes, he said weakly, "Thanks, Jake. I owe you my life." "It's nothing, bro. I had a dream a couple of nights ago about you being in a car accident, and I couldn't shake the unease. That's why I've been sticking by you today." "Seems like it was a prophetic dream," I joked. Using it as an excuse, Mia sat on a bench nearby, staring blankly at my brother's medical report. "Jake, why? Why do you only have one kidney?" "I didn't take your kidney. How can you still only have one?" Hearing this, I grabbed my brother's medical report too. Did he really have only one kidney? "I was born with one kidney smaller than the other." My brother explained weakly, "As I grew, the smaller one atrophied, but the remaining kidney is healthy. It doesn't affect my body much." Mia stared blankly at both of us. Slowly, she crouched down, hugging herself, and began to sob quietly. Her sobs grew louder and louder until she was wailing uncontrollably. I watched coldly while my brother, confused and unsure what was going on, tried to console her. "Mia, what's wrong?" "I'm fine." "Really? It's just a fracture. I'll heal." My brother assumed she was crying out of concern for him, not knowing that I had told him in the past that Mia liked him. But in reality, I suspected that Mia had just realized it was me who had donated the kidney in the previous life. Once I died in the past life, the doctors must have explained the cause of my death to her in detail. The illness I suffered in my last life wouldn't have been fatal, but because I had donated a kidney to Mia, I was left with only one. As a result, I couldn't take the normal medications and ultimately lost my life. Mia had likely always harbored suspicions that the kidney she received was actually mine. The reason she hadn't confirmed it earlier was probably that she had seen my brother's medical report when he died in the last life, and she had assumed from the start that the kidney was from him. As Mia cried her heart out, I felt no sympathy for her. Whether it was a tragic misunderstanding or not, the pain Mia had caused me in the previous life was undeniable. If she had shown me even a little concern, she would have noticed that I had been taking the same medication as her all along, but for 15 years after our marriage, all my efforts had failed to warm her heart. Even as I lay dying, she had come to me specifically to tell me that she loved my brother, making sure I died with no peace. As her sobbing intensified, she suddenly rushed over and hugged me tightly. "Jake, I'm sorry. I didn't know. I really didn't know. I'm so sorry." She was holding on to me so tightly that I couldn't push her away. I could only say, "If you really feel sorry, then don't bother me anymore." My brother, watching from the side, looked completely confused. However, since the pain relief had some anesthetic in it, he soon closed his eyes and fell asleep. "Jake, I'll make it up to you. I'll treat you well in this life. Please don't leave me," Mia sobbed, begging. "Please, Jake, I can't live without you. After you left in the last life, I realized that you had become such an integral part of my life. You had rooted yourself deeply in every aspect of my existence. I no longer woke up to find breakfast ready. There were no more freshly washed fruits in the fridge. My clothes didn't magically become clean and return to my wardrobe, and the trash at the door stayed there even after opening it multiple times. Mia buried her head deeply into my chest, clutching my shirt, and said in a muffled voice, "Jake, I never knew the mortgage and car payments were so much every month. I didn't know the car needed maintenance. I didn't know how to pay the water, electricity, and gas bills. I can't live without you, Jake." I finally managed to pry her off of me, brushing off my shirt with disdain. "You didn't know. There's a lot you don't know. You never put any thought into me. You just saw me as a fool who gave you free money and did all the work. My brother is resting right now. Please leave and stop disturbing him," I said coldly, making it clear she wasn't welcome. When she refused to leave, I grabbed her arm and dragged her out of the room, shutting and locking the door behind her. It wasn't until a long while later that I finally heard her footsteps leaving. I stayed with my brother for 2 days, and soon after, my parents rushed over because his leg fracture was quite serious and needed surgery. For the next couple of weeks, my parents and I took turns caring for my brother. During that time, Lily visited a few times, bringing flowers and homemade bone broth. My parents and my brother were very pleased with Lily. She was the complete opposite of Mia. Mia had a bright, flamboyant appearance and a bold personality, often dressing provocatively, whereas Lily had a delicate, gentle beauty and always dressed modestly. On the last day of my brother's hospital stay, Mia's parents suddenly showed up. I was pushing my brother in a wheelchair when her parents rushed over and knelt in front of me. "Jake, please save Mia," they cried, and they even kowtowed to me. My parents were shocked, quickly helping Mia's parents up from the ground. "What's going on?" my dad asked, holding on to Mia's father to stop him from kneeling again. "Mia has end-stage acute kidney failure. She's not going to make it." "Huh?" My dad's eyes widened in shock. "How did this happen? If there's anything we can do to help, we will." My head throbbed. I knew my dad's soft heart would melt upon hearing how serious Mia's condition was, and he would forget all past grievances. "Jake, Mia's tissue type matches yours. Could you donate a kidney to Mia?" her father pleaded. "What?" My dad was dumbfounded. How could Jake and Mia have a matching type? He turned to me and asked, "Did you get tested?" I let out a mocking laugh. Mia, who had seemed so remorseful a few days ago, was now sending her parents to ask for my kidney. Clearly, she feared I wouldn't crawl back to her and donate it like in the past. "I didn't get tested," I said casually, "but I do know that my tissue type matches Mia's. But," I added with a smirk, "I'm not willing to give Mia a kidney." Mia's father grew agitated. "Jake, you can't be so selfish. You'd only be losing a kidney, but Mia is losing her life." I glanced at him indifferently. "What does her life have to do with me? I didn't make her sick." Mia's mother became desperate, grabbing my arm. "Jake, I know you've always liked our Mia. If you donate your kidney, I'll make sure she marries you." "Marry me?" I asked mockingly. "Does that mean you'll also ask for a house, a car, and a 400,000 yuan dowry?" Mia's mother weakly replied, "Well, those are just the basics for marriage, right? Mia isn't healthy and she'll need money for care. Asking for more isn't unreasonable, is it?" "What?" My mother couldn't take it anymore. "You two want my son's kidney, a house, a car, and money? How shameless can you be? Get out. My son won't be donating a kidney, and he certainly won't marry a sickly girl." I felt a surge of gratitude toward my mother. In the previous life, after I secretly donated my kidney to Mia, my parents rushed to see me. They had just lost their eldest son, and now their younger son had donated a kidney. It was as if the weight of the world had bent their backs overnight. In the previous life, I had failed my parents the most. Mia's father tried again. "Jake, letting you donate a kidney to Mia is doing you a favor. You followed Mia around like a stray dog all your life. Don't think we didn't know that. You should feel honored that she'll live with your kidney." Hearing this, my dad finally lost his patience. "Bye, Chen. If you don't know how to speak, then shut up. After all these years, I never thought you'd think of Jake this way. I've had enough of you and your family. Dad, Mom, let's not waste any more time on them. Let's go," I said, pushing my brother out the door, unwilling to deal with them any longer. "No, you can't leave. What about Mia?" Her mother lunged forward, grabbing my leg. "You have to give her your kidney." "Let go," I ordered coldly. "If you don't, I'll call the police. Don't blame me for not being polite." Hearing that I was going to call the police, Mia's mother hesitated. I took the opportunity to free my leg and quickly left. After the summer break, both Lily and I were about to start our third year of university and needed to begin internships. We found positions at companies close to each other and rented an apartment together. Our days consisted of working and studying for our graduate school exams. In this life, I wasn't planning to return to my hometown. I was determined to stay in the big city and make up for the regrets of my past life. Lily and I kept each other on track, testing and quizzing one another. Fully immersed in our studies, about 5 months later, Mia found me again. This time, she knelt outside my office building and refused to leave, attracting a crowd of curious onlookers. When she saw me coming out after work, a faint light appeared in her eyes. Jake, she tried to stand up but collapsed from kneeling too long. Her palms were scraped and bleeding, and dirt covered her hands, yet she shakily stood up again and walked toward me. It had been months since I'd last seen her. The once radiant and glamorous Mia was now skin and bones. Her face was sallow, her hair tied up carelessly like dry straw, and her lips were pale, devoid of any color. Jake, save me, she pleaded desperately, reaching out. I won't bother you and Lily anymore. Look, I've been so good these past months, haven't I? I haven't come looking for you. I'm really dying. Please save me. The once proud eyes that had never lingered on me for even a moment now clung to me like a drowning fish, desperate and unwavering. I stopped a short distance from her. Mia, why do you think I would sacrifice my life to save you? No! She shook her head in a panic. If we're careful this time, you won't get sick again. You won't die. Her voice grew weaker, as if she didn't even believe her own words, but she kept repeating, You won't die. I burst into laughter, tears forming at the corners of my eyes. After a long moment, I straightened up, wiped my tears, and looked at Mia. Don't waste your time on me. You know it's impossible. You'd be better off looking for another kidney donor. Maybe you'll survive that way. With that, I walked past her without a second thought. Seeing Mia in such a pitiful state did bring a sense of satisfaction, but she had already received her punishment. I wouldn't seek further revenge. In September 2021, I heard that Mia's parents managed to find a kidney donor for her. They had to mortgage their house back home and spent 300,000 to 400,000 yuan on her treatment. However, the kidney arrived too late. While it saved Mia's life, her other organs had already suffered significant damage, and her life expectancy likely wasn't very long. I stopped paying attention, focusing entirely on preparing for the exams with Lily. In October, we exchanged a knowing smile as we walked into the exam hall. Afterward, we didn't ask each other how the exam went. Instead, we both took time off from work and went on an exhilarating trip. Hand in hand, we traveled to the seaside, climbed mountains, wandered through towering forests, and roamed endless grasslands. For the first time, I truly experienced the joy of companionship, the happiness of having someone by my side. In the end, hand in hand, we entered the Foxosai temple and knelt before Buddha. With hands clasped together, we prayed sincerely. We prayed for good exam results, for our parents' health, for a bright and clear future, and for our enduring bond, gratitude. In February 2022, just a few days after the new year, I anxiously logged into the exam results portal. I took a deep breath, reminding myself that it would be okay even if I didn't pass. Clicking check results, I saw 389 points. My heart finally settled, smiling. I turned to my parents, who were eagerly leaning over to see the results, even though they couldn't quite understand. It's good, I said with a grin. My parents clapped excitedly, and my dad couldn't help but ask, What about Xiaoya? How did she do? Just then I received a call from Lily. Jake, I got 383 points. I got 389. Ah. Lily, usually so gentle, screamed with excitement on the other end of the line, making all of us laugh. When she realized my parents could hear her, she shyly stopped. In May, after we finished our internships and returned to campus, our counselor invited us to speak at the graduation ceremony as outstanding student representatives. At the same time, we heard that Mia had taken a leave of absence. At the master's graduation ceremony, I got down on one knee and proposed to Lily. Our classmates and teachers offered their most heartfelt congratulations, and it became a special moment in the ceremony. At the end of 2025, Lily and I got married. As we were greeting guests, Mia showed up unexpectedly. Congratulations, she said with a faint smile, handing me a red envelope. Mia had cut her hair short and was wearing a loose t-shirt and jeans, clothes she would have never worn before. I looked at her for a few seconds and suddenly realized that I had long since let go of the past. Thank you. I hope you find your other half soon. I sincerely wished her well. Thank you, she responded. As I turned to greet other guests, I heard her whisper softly, I'll never find someone who treats me as well as you did. At the wedding, I turned my back for a moment, and Lily, holding up her long wedding dress, walked up behind me and patted my shoulder. The moment I saw her, tears uncontrollably spilled from my eyes. What are you crying about? She reached out to wipe my tears with the back of her hand, though her own eyes were filled with tears. Liv, I held her tightly. You are the best gift heaven has given me. And you are mine too, she whispered softly in my ear as she hugged me back.